Welcome back to the Do Whatever podcast. This is number 4 coming at you. Now, before I jump into what number 4 is about, I want to say sincerely thank you to all the people that have reached out over the first 3 episodes, especially the last episode, and kind of shared your stories as well, and shared what you're interested in. And a lot of you have more interest in swords and fencing than I would have ever imagined. I imagine it was just me at this point. But very happy to hear that. So thank you, everybody that has subscribed, everybody that has emailed me with comments or left messages on social media, direct messages, all that kind of stuff. I really, really do appreciate it. That's the whole point of this thing, is to connect and reach out to people who are in that same mind frame of following what they're into, of just continuing to get your hands dirtier and dirtier and getting further into the mud of whatever seemingly useless or maybe useful hobby, pastime, way of thinking that you're into. So thank you all for your support. I hope to keep bringing you engaging content about whatever little rabbit hole I'm going down. Use that term a lot, I understand, but it's really the best way of describing the mental state you have to be in to follow the kind of things, the number of things that a lot of us, including myself, find ourselves in. So in that vein, I am very happy to bring you this episode. This episode is me sitting down with Nick Bear. Nick is a friend of mine. Nick has lived here in Round Rock for 2 or 3 years. Well, 4 years now. I've known him for about 3 years. And he's been a friend of mine and Matt Vincent's. He's been a friend of our company, first and foremost, but he's become a personal friend the longer he's lived close to me. He is the founder, owner, CEO, if you will, Bear Performance Nutrition. They're a supplement company, and they are actually based just down the road. Their warehouse is just down the road from where I live here in Round Rock, and they've got a little gym facility there, so I'll go train. But most of the time, I just go to hang out with Nick and his brother Preston and the rest of the team there. They're really good people, and in that kind of hangout mode, it led to these conversations about what we're into. And I think over these few years, we've seen that Nick and I both tend to get into different things. We kind of fit the mold of this do whatever mindset that, whatever is going to give me that feeling, and you're going to hear us talk about that, give me that feeling of being new and chasing something and chasing a goal, is really not something we're afraid to switch things up once in a while just to chase that feeling. The thing that Nick brought to me when I kind of pitched the idea of the podcast to him is that he's into guns right now. And I thought this was very cool. There was a kind of good synergy for that, because I've been thinking a lot about guns, a lot about weapons in terms of hunting in that context. And Nick has been thinking about them for much longer than I have. This is a guy that was an officer in the Army. This is a guy that went to Ranger School. That's got his Ranger tab. This is a guy that thinks about weapons as a fundamentally different thing than I do. And his approach to them, the use of them, and how he views them as tools is way different than a civilian like me that's using them for a hobby. So I really wanted to get into that with him, but I also wanted to see, what he wants to do with guns, why he's so into it right now. Why is that taking up his time? Why is that his 3 a.m. YouTube playlist, as we often say? What is it that's driving him about that? What's the interest? And of course, we delve into a whole bunch of other topics, but you wouldn't be listening if it were just, 5 minutes talking about guns. Also in the spirit of being in the moment and chasing things even when you're not going to be great or things aren't going to be perfect, there are some sound issues with this episode, and you'll notice them when I speak, which is thankfully the least interesting part. When Nick's talking, everything sounds great. But being in Nick's facility, we just use the stuff he had on hand. He does video production. He also podcasts occasionally. So check him out if you haven't already. Also, check out his YouTube channel. Look for Nick Bear, and then look for him on iTunes also for his personal podcast. But he has his own setup there, and probably something I was doing. We were using his microphone, and whenever I would move along with speaking, which I constantly do, it would cause some sort of buzz, some bursts of humming. It's not a constant thing, but it was some sort of electrical interference. Maybe something to do with my aura. Maybe I might need to meditate on that. Not sure. But I just wanted to address that. But hey, this is one of those things, just like I said, in the spirit of do whatever. I didn't want to delay the chance to sit down with an awesome guy like Nick and talk about such a fun topic because I didn't have the right gear with me, or I needed time to set up my whole bag of gear. Let's just roll with what we got. Let's get the words recorded, and let's get after it. So without further ado, this is Nick Bear.
Give up now, leave me be. It's the crime of the century. And if you give up what you know.
Nick, thank you for coming to Do Whatever podcast. Glad to have you, man.
Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this for the past week.
Well, you're the one that called the topic, which we're going to get to, and this is what got me in a hurry to get it. We're gonna get there. We're gonna build a little suspense. But Nick Bear, for those who don't know, Nick Bear is a friend of mine, and he lives here in Round Rock, Texas. Well, you live in Austin now. You moved down to the pretty part of the state.
I'm in the Domain now.
That's right.
The warehouse is still in Round Rock.
He's down there with the young folks and the loud music and the fancy tacos now.
Trying to fit in.
Dude, the tacos across the street.
Velvet?
Oh my God, dude. That's
a death of me.
Yeah.
It's across from 77 degrees, which means if I end up at 77 degrees on the weekend, I'm in pretty rough shape. And I know I'm getting tacos after that. I wake up the next morning, it's like, oh my God, what have I done to myself?
It's not the booze that gets you. It's all the tacos.
Yeah. And there's usually a booze involved with the tacos
yes,
as well.
100%. Yeah, we went for that the June 10th powerlifting event. You took us all there after. I did not go to 77 degrees.
I went to 77 degrees
You went after
tacos,
that. Me and my wife were like, nope, peace out, man. Tacos are going to have us hungover.
That was after the booze cruise too, so we were all in pretty good shape.
Yeah, we were a little toasty at that point. We definitely Ubered that one back up the Round Rock.
That was such a good night.
Oh, that was fun, man.
That whole weekend was so good.
That was a really, really good time. Nick lives here in Austin and works up here in Round Rock, and he is the owner and founder of Bear Performance Nutrition. So in our style here for Do Whatever, we're going to talk a little bit about, let Nick tell his story a little bit, but we're going to move on to the real topics because, like I told you before we started, I'm all about the rabbit holes. I want to know not just what you're known for. I want to know what are you into right now, because one thread I found with successful people, with smart people, is that they get obsessed with something. Like they'll just find a new obsession every few months, every few weeks, and they'll just go down a rabbit hole of something. So I want to find out what it is. But tell us about Bear Performance Nutrition. Tell us about what you guys got going on. Give us the story, man. Give us the elevator pitch on Bear Performance.
Yeah, I'll keep it short because like you said, I think I've told, I get on podcasts or interviews and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm telling the same thing every time.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to talking about something
different.
That's not fitness and business. But so I started Bear Performance Nutrition when I was in college. I was a junior at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, Western PA, and I was on an ROTC scholarship. So I started up BPN, launched it down in my college apartment where it struggled for the first 3 years. So I was active duty military. I'm at Fort Benning, Georgia. I'm at Fort Hood, Texas. I'm trying to grow and build this brand while I'm in the field all the time, on month-long training rotations in the field. It was a crazy lifestyle. And then I started vlogging at the same time too. So I'm doing videos. I'm going to work from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. I'm trying to run this business. And for the first 3 years, it didn't grow. I think we did $25,000 in revenue for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
Just covered expenses, putting one production order in a year. Mm-hmm. And then I was doing YouTube, and I went and got stationed in South Korea for 9 months, where YouTube kind of started picking up, business started picking up. And when I got back from Korea, we built the warehouse here in Round Rock. And the transition from the military to full-time entrepreneur business owner really just worked out in our favor. Timing was perfect. And the business grew dramatically over the course of probably 18 to 24 months to the position now where we have 3 people on payroll. We're in this warehouse in Round Rock, Texas, close to Austin. We have wholesale accounts. We're doing distribution internationally. And it's booming right now.
Yeah, and I remember we were hanging out by the time that you were finishing up, by the time you were discharged, by the time you left the military, and I remember just the change in gears, how free you felt, just to be able to do, you were really appreciative of your time that you served, but I could tell that you were ready to put this thing into high gear, really put the pedal down, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, the transition was so different because I went from my schedule was nuts. I would wake up at 4:30. I'd be at PT at 6. I'd be at work until 5 at the earliest, 8 p.m. at the latest. Then I'd go to the gym and film videos, and then trying to it was just, I was sleeping 2 hours a night. It was just hectic, and I knew when I would transition out, being full-time business owner, I could dedicate so much time.
It was a break compared to what you were doing.
Yeah, it was a break. And I looked at it, I was like, man, I couldn't even wrap my head around having all this time to dedicate to the business. And I think being in such a time crunch then, it made me realize how much you can maximize productivity with time.
Yeah.
So now, life seems like it's so much smoother that I have time to dedicate to the business, to the YouTube, to everything that matters right now. And it's crazy what you can do with time. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's the only currency there actually is when you get down to it.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about this, how like your time is so valuable.
Yeah.
You decide who deserves that time.
Yeah.
In a day.
Yeah. Well, right now, Nick, you definitely deserve my time.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I'll tell you. No, it's not because you're a good person or anything. I'll tell you the reason you deserve my time is because you want to talk about guns.
Oh, okay.
So that makes it worth my time right now. I'll say.
We got some land behind the warehouse. If you want to shoot some, if you had some silencers, you could pop off a few rounds.
Oh man, you know I have a buddy. He's a Highland Games athlete. He's actually the current lightweight world champion in Highland Games. Phil Sensata. He works for Gemtech Silencers.
Really?
I'm shouting him out here in case he listens because, man, we could really use somebody to come down and show us how to use Gemtech silencers.
Yeah, especially we're in the county, so we have some silencers. I got some land behind the gym here.
Oh, man.
I may have fired a few rounds back there.
Yeah, allegedly. Depending on what the regulations are, allegedly. But yeah, so this was... when I approached Nick about doing this, Nick wanted, I said, what's your current obsession? What are you into? What's the rabbit hole you're down to? And it was just one word. It was guns.
Yeah, guns.
And so talk to me about that, man. I know that you served, and I know that obviously handling a weapon is not anything new to you.
Right.
You've been trained in it. It's not, new territory. It's not something you're trying for the first time. But why now? Like, why after you finish serving? Why after all this time building BPN? Why is that rabbit hole looking so enticing right now?
Like when I was in the military, I guess because it was part of our job.
Yeah.
I wasn't super interested in weapons, and probably because of like all the stuff you had to do with it, like sensitive item inventory every month.
Yeah. Like
on a monthly basis, one officer would have to do inventory of all the sensitive items. And it was probably like 8 pages of serial numbers. So I'd be looking at M4s, M9s, 50 cals, 240s on a monthly basis. Like it would take 3 days just to go by serial number, just make sure everything's in the arms room or within your possession. So I was like, man, these weapons are just a pain in the ass. I want nothing to do with this shit.
I love that. Once something is a job, it's boring, even if it's a cool
For
thing.
real, yeah. It's so true. And there was like, when I really started getting the itch for it, there was this one day we were in Korea, and usually when we would do ranges, it'd be like company level or battalion level.
Yeah.
So like, it was so regulated. It was like, you walk up to your lane, you get 10 rounds, you shoot the targets, you're done. It was just boring.
Yeah.
There was this one day we had a platoon range. So me and my platoon sergeant, we had like 10,000 rounds for our platoon. We're like, we're gonna have fun today. So we just we blew through these rounds. We did some fun stuff. We did stress shoots. It was a blast.
Explain what that means.
So like a stress shoot is my NCOs would smoke the soldiers, like smoke the shit on them. They'd be running up and down stairs. They'd be doing push-ups. Yeah. They'd be doing water carries, so their heart rate's really elevated.
Okay.
And then they have to get online and try to fire these targets. Trying to fire these targets when you're breathing like super deep.
That's interesting. So and it makes total sense. So you had to do it too, I'm guessing.
Well, so we ran the range.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I was like, I brought my NCOs in, non-commissioned officers, like, hey, let's let the soldiers smoke us. So it was me and my NCOs, and the soldiers, the private specialists, got to smoke the dog shit out of us, which never happens. Right. They took full advantage. They were like in my face, like,
of course,
you piece of shit, and kicking us, and they smoked the crap out of us, and we went and did the stress shoot. But that was just fun.
How did that change your shooting? Because I've never done that.
Yeah, you can't it's just it raise and dips like the barrel of the gun, because you're trying to control your breathing and focus on the target.
Yeah.
But that's fun. Like that's tough stuff.
Yeah.
Because like you're trying to, when you try to control your breathing, when your heart rate is so elevated, it just throws, you can't breathe.
Right.
It throws everything off.
And then you can start feeling your heart just boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like when you can't breathe through it, it just feels like it's trapped in there trying to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then when I got out, I started I always had an AR-15, always had a 45 while in the military. But I started getting the itch to shoot again. What I'm really getting the itch to shoot for is a 240.
Nice.
Machine gun. And I was like, man, because that's one weapon that just rocks.
Yeah.
Like the 50 cal is cool, but we would do some training stuff where you're carrying the 240 around, and then you drop it, and the 240 just rocks
yeah.
And everyone, as soon as the 240 starts rocking, everyone's like, fuck yes. Yeah. Everyone's like 6 to midnight.
Things like a fucking drum solo.
Oh my god! It's like if you don't have ear pro in for a 240 rocking.
Oh, I bet
you're hurting. But I did that at Ruck March in Houston.
Yeah. And
the guy that edited the video included a 240 on some overlaying clips, and it matched perfectly with courtesy of the red, white, and blue. And when I listen to that song now, at certain points, I just see this 240 rocking, and it jacks me up.
That's the most American thing I've ever heard of.
Oh my god! So like that's the weapon systems that I want to start shooting again.
Where is there anywhere you can shoot one around here?
You can shoot this automatic machine guns at the range in Austin.
Yeah, I went there. I took my wife there for her birthday. Actually,
pretty nice, right?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I was talking, I was like, what's a 240 cost? 6 figures. 240s are 6 figures. There's actually a guy in there that has like 7-figure weapons that comes and brings his weapons in there.
Wow.
But that's why I was talking. I want to find some sort of land that I can. If I can find land and get a 240. That's
all you do.
That shit just rocks. Yeah.
Hey, where's Nick nowadays? He's out shooting his 240.
Yeah, it's something like when you get behind that weapon, like you feel it, or you see someone shooting, it feels good.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I love shooting like pistols and rifles and stuff, AR, for like competitive spirit with the guys, and it just feels good. You know, the smell of like gunpowder.
Oh, yeah.
It smells great. But if I could shoot a 240 again right now,
in an instant.
Yes.
Yeah, we shot when we went to the range. We shot the stuff that we had, like the stuff that's sitting on the table for the visual here. Nick and I have our stuff sitting on the table. Basically, we have
there's usually weapons on this table at all times.
I think it's a good table, and I think it fills out the space nicely. But when the wife and I went, we shot the stuff we had. We shot my pistols, and then we actually rented an MP5 clone. Okay. The MP5 is so much fun to shoot. Like it's literally just like this the 9mm, the M&P here. It's just like that, but it's shoulder mounted. Like it feels the same. It feels like you just get to shoulder mount your pistol, basically, right. Which is really nice. And it's not like it functions really nice. It shoots like butter. Like you can really dial it in really fast. It's a fun weapon to shoot. She's actually shot one before too. When she went to her residency in Cleveland, one of the little team building things they did was they had all the resident docs go out because they wanted to show them. It was under the kind of the auspices of research or medical stuff, which I'm sure it helped, but they wanted to show. They used like ballistic gels and watermelons and stuff to show them what bullets did when they entered a body, like kind of to give them an idea, because they were working in this was in Cleveland, Ohio, and the hospital they were working at was a gun and knife club. You know, like they were going to see a lot of trauma like that, a lot of GSWs, which, by the way, I think is hilarious because it takes just as long to say GSW as it does gunshot wound.
Right.
But they still say GSW. But they wanted to show them all this stuff, so they took them out and they had them fire a bunch of different weapons. They had them fire shotguns with slugs and stuff like that, and then had them fire an MP5, and got to see it go into the ballistic gel and everything like that. But yeah, and she was pregnant with our first kid at the time too. I think she was like 3 months pregnant. So there's pictures of her out there somewhere, like, you know, shouldering a submachine gun, basically.
That's probably on some sort of like calendar somewhere.
Oh, it's got to be. Some firefighter in Cleveland has got like this docs with guns or whatever. Like they got some calendar on it.
It's like a desktop.
Yeah, but then when you think about it though, that's a really specific fetish you're talking about there. Pregnant doctor firing gun.
I'm sure it's Googled.
I'm sure it's somewhere out there.
I've gotten some weird DMs, man. I've gotten some weird DMs.
Didn't you have some dude ask you for your shoes or something like that?
You want to hear my most recent one?
Yeah, I do.
Someone sent me a DM asking if they can smell and lick the sweat off my body after I work out.
So that's not the one I sent you. That's a different DM.
Different. But they said it wasn't sexual.
Clearly it's not, yeah.
And they offered hundreds of dollars per hour.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. It's probably so they can absorb some of your power.
I had to turn that one down.
You did?
Unfortunately, yeah.
It just wasn't enough money?
It wasn't enough money. If the price was right.
Everybody's got a price to get the sweat looked off there. But I mean, you got to think about how much time that saves you after the workout, honestly.
True. Very true. They said it would be in the private. I don't know. That one made me feel weird.
Yeah, it makes me feel weird just hearing about it. I'm hearing about it secondhand. So I was talking about this with my wife actually last night. Have you ever heard the term Rule 34?
No.
So this is an old internet joke that if anything you can think of, any situation, any visual, anything you can imagine, there is a porn of it somewhere, or there will be a porn made of that. So just what we're talking about, like the pregnant doctor like firing a submachine gun, it's probably out there somewhere. You can probably find it somewhere.
You can find anything.
Oh God, it's a great time to be alive if you're a connoisseur of pornography.
For real, yeah.
It's a beautiful time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays you can Google anything.
Oh,
you can YouTube anything, and it'll pop up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember it used to be like I had to click a button when I was a kid to say like to confirm that I was 18. That just went away, didn't it? Like, there's not any porn site in the world that's asking you if you're 18 anymore. Like,
completely accessible.
Like, we knew it wasn't stopping anybody. We just gave up. All right, so I have this beautiful AR sitting in front of me right now. So. And this is did you take this to the range to shoot it?
I think it's the range, yeah.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, when we say the range, we mean the range, but we also mean there's a company called The Range in Austin, which is like this boutique. It's like nice restaurant, nightclub.
There's like a VIP section.
Yeah, it's like memberships, but it's a really cool place. So you took this to shoot. Tell me about this weapon, man, because this thing, it's pretty.
That's a DPMS upper lower receiver, and then I took off the hand guards, and put on AB arms on there. Well, I like the AB arms stuff, the products they make.
Yeah.
And then I have some Magpul products on that, and then a Vortex optic. So that was my first AR, and then I'm currently in the process of building an AR from scratch. So that's
nice.
Yeah, I have a buddy who's in 10th group over at in Colorado, and I mean their stuff they have in 10th group Special Forces. They get like the most badass custom weapons. So he'll send me pictures of like
because they're allowed to.
Yeah, he'll send me pictures of what he's doing to his weapon systems and his ARs and stuff. And he's like, "Hey man, I'll help you build the most badass ARs." Let's do it. So then I started working with Tactical Tailor.
Yeah, Tactical
Tailor and Grey Ghost. I do some work with them, so they'll send me stuff and I'll promote it. They make great products. They're based in Tacoma, Washington. So they'll send me like plate carriers and rucksacks and like hydration systems, stuff I take hiking. But Grey Ghost, who's their sister company, they make like slides for Glocks. Mm-hmm. They make pieces for ARs and stuff. So I'm gonna start using Grey Ghost stuff to like build this next weapon system.
Nice. How far along are you right now?
I just put some stuff on order.
Nice.
So like building it all from scratch. Short barrel. The suppressor and stuff. So that's the next rifle, and then pistol. I'm gonna go with the Glock 19.
Oh yeah, you cannot go wrong.
Yeah, Glock 19 custom slide.
Yep. Yeah, and you can't go wrong, man. The feel of those. I think. What does Matt shoot? Matt Vincent shoots. I think he shoots like it might be a 19 or a Glock 40. I can't remember what he shoots.
I went to Bass Pro the other day, and I tried to buy it, but I didn't have a Texas driver's license.
That's right.
And
you've been here like 2-3 years.
I've been here for 4 years.
Just get it together.
I have. This week, I keep telling myself, this week I got to do it. But I pulled that Glock 9 out, or Glock 19, and it just felt so good.
That's the thing about Glocks, man. They just feel great in your hand. Like just as a carry weapon, they're great. They're fantastic with a low profile, and that's all funny because I don't have one. Like that's not what I shoot. So I shoot a Smith & Wesson M&P 9C compact. The reason for that is that it is a little bulky, and as that makes carrying a little bit weird. You can see like actually the way that I carry. A hip clip right there.
Yeah.
I don't even carry.
Is that what you were talking about the other day?
Yeah, the hip clip. So
I was confused by that.
I don't even carry like a paddle because I like to appendix carry. So I don't carry a paddle holster though because this is a pretty bulky gun. That's
super nice. I've never seen one of these before.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So a couple of guys that I know that are police officers, they use that as their sidearm just because they get to, they don't have to worry about concealment.
Yeah.
So it's a little big, but the only reason that I went with it is that I consistently shoot double stack pistols better than I do single stack. That's the only reason I didn't go with a Glock. Like my experience, it's probably just a lack of skill on my part, to be perfectly honest, but I'm much more comfortable shooting a double stack. I don't know, it feels more symmetrical, like I feel like I can control it better, like multiple shots. So that's the reason I did. But dude,
how do you attach that?
It's adhesive. There's like 3M has some special name for it or whatever, but there's an adhesive on there for the base, and then the clip is just put on there with Allen key bolts. One of them's a little loose right now.
That goes into the base.
Yeah, it goes into the base.
That's just attached by adhesive right there.
It's attached by adhesive. That's right. And
super strong.
And you can slide an X-Acto knife to get it off, but otherwise you can't pull it off.
Really?
You cannot get it off.
This is definitely what I'm going to put on my Glock.
Oh yeah, it's nice. But again, with the Glock though, man, like you can get a good paddle holster, and it's not going to be uncomfortable. It's like I have a holster. I have like a neoprene holster for this one, just in case I need it. But with this M&P, like you can just feel like it sits fat in your hand. I actually had to change the saddle here, like on the on the grip, because it comes with like a couple of different ones, and it was just so fat. And I've got pretty decent size hands, but the operation gets weird.
Right.
Nick Kumalatos actually kind of talked to me about that. Like, well, wasn't a talking. He made fun of me about getting that. He made fun of me for getting that weapon, and whatever. That guy's way more experienced than me.
He carries Glock 26, I think.
Yeah. So, and he just didn't like the function, and I get it after using it for a while. Like I shot this weapon obviously before I bought it, but like I get it after a while, but I still like the way that it fires better, and that's at the end of the day, I feel more comfortable and I can stay on target better with it. But the Glocks, man, just like you're talking about, that Glock 19, they just feel so nice. They've mastered that. Like, it doesn't feel like it doesn't intrude on you at all. Like it fits in your hand really nicely, and like it feels natural to pick up.
I can't wait to pick it up, because I carried, when we were at Big Bend this past weekend, I carried my 45 on me. And I thought I was going to see like bears and mountain lions. I was fully prepared to fire that weapon.
There are mountain lions out there, man.
The amount of people, we got on our first hike. It was, I forget what this one was called. Oh, Lost Mine Trail. It's like a 5 mile hike. And I was like, man, we're ready to see bear and mountain lion. And there wasn't a lot of people, but there were definitely people on the trail. I was like, there's no way I'm pulling this one out. The last hike we did though, middle of nowhere, no one around. And you just saw a bunch of bear shit everywhere.
Nice.
So I was like I hope I shoot a bear. I hope. Like Stephanie was kind of like looking out, like hoping there's nothing to turn around. I'm like, I'm waiting for something to come around this corner.
This is what I was born for.
I'm ready to shoot this thing.
What kind of 45 you carry?
It's a Taurus. So I got it. Man, I don't even know when I got it or why I got it.
That's that. You have didn't you say it was a compact or a subcompact?
It's tiny. Yeah, I'll have to show it to you then. It's in my truck.
I remember you talking about it. Go ahead. Yeah.
And that's the one I shot the coyote with.
Yeah, you're trying to... No, you shot at the coyote.
So, yeah.
From how far away did you shoot?
Well, let me tell you the story. So,
right, yeah, start from the beginning.
I'm working out here in the gym, shirt off, and my buddy Daniel was coming over, and I get this text, and it says, Coyote's outside, because he pulled up.
Yeah. So
he's getting his gym stuff out of the truck out here. He said he sees me sprint out the front door, no shirt, pistol in hand, running down the hill. And so there's a dead deer back there. So these coyotes were eating on this dead deer, which I don't know how it got there. This is a weird place. And
because we're not, just for those listening, we're not out in the country.
No,
like this is an industrial park, a light industrial park that's just across from like an IKEA, and
it's right behind IKEA,
a grocery store and everything. There's a little bit of land around, like there's like a ravine between, but that just goes to show you this is Central Texas, man. Whitetails and coyotes, they don't give two shits if there's a house right next to them when they're doing their business, man. They live all around. Anyway, go ahead.
So I see this coyote and it sees me. We make eye contact and it's eating this deer. Sprints like maybe 50 meters. Starts taking a shit. I'm like, oh yes,
this is my time.
Rock it back, take a shot, shoots right over the coyote, and just runs off. And the next time I pulled up to the gym, I grabbed my AR, and I shot it when it was on the run. I missed it again. Hasn't come back since.
Now, so going back to, I have already teased you about this before, but how far away were you when you were shooting at it with the pistol?
Maybe 50 meters.
50 meters.
50, 75. No, maybe 50, 75 meters.
With a compact frame, 45 caliber handgun.
When you fire this thing, it's like it throws back, man. It almost throws out of your hand.
Like, that's a weapon that's built for, oh shit, it's right on top of me.
Yeah.
Like you literally could have thrown it and had probably just as good a chance. I imagine you're a pretty good shot too.
I wanted that coyote so bad too, because like it was massive and it kept coming after our dog here.
The urban ones, they get big, man.
It was a big
they eat. Like, they can eat, so they get thick body. They get that thick neck, and like they don't have like the gaunt shoulders anymore. They look thick, man.
Yeah, it was funny because the next day I was taking the dog out, and some lady pulls up. She's like, "Hey, I just want to warn you. I've seen some big coyotes back here." And I was like, "Oh, don't worry, man. I took a shot at it."
Like,
and she gives me this weird look and drives away. Hour later, cops pull up. I was like, "All right."
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, watch out! There's coyotes around here. Yeah, where exactly?
Where have you seen them?
Can you give me an exact location? You have a GPS with you?
But Animal Control came out the other week and they put on some traps back there because I guess it's becoming a problem.
Nice. Well, maybe I need to come hang out here a little while.
Yeah, you'll get some shots off. That's why we had that dying jackrabbit call here. We're trying to bring him back.
Yes, you do. You have a predator call here. You got a way to get him in. I like that. Now, I actually have the bow in the back of the truck. Maybe after we finish, we're probably gonna train here in a little bit. After that, I'll just sit in the tailgate of my truck.
There's this night, me and Daniel were sitting back there, jackrabbit call, just waiting. Nothing came around though.
Oh yeah, that's half of hunting right there. So yeah, like a lot of my my weapon choices now are kind of built around hunting.
And that's what I want to get into. I want to start getting into hunting.
Yeah, we talked about that. I still need to take you up on that at some point. I've been wildly unsuccessful so far. Like I've shot a bunch of birds, dove hunting and everything, but I'm 0 for everything with deer so far.
Yeah, I mean I'm from Pennsylvania, so like hunting is huge up there.
It is, yeah.
Hunting, fishing.
I've got a lot of woods up there, man.
Yeah, and we're part of a hunting cabin. My grandparents are.
Nice.
We would go there. We never go hunting.
Yeah.
But now it's something like I want to. I have some buddies with land down here.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to take up the opportunity.
Dude, the best way to jump into it is dove hunting. And that's kind of where I got started because, like I told you, I didn't hunt till really the past few years. And this is my first serious year, like bow hunting and hunting deer. Like this is it. And so, I mean, this weapon that I have right here, this Remington 870, like it's a very simple, really simple platform. Like it's just super easy to get accustomed to. It doesn't kick. It's a 20 gauge. It's great for shooting birds, man. Like you don't need anything fancy to shoot birds at all, and it's great. It gets you the feel of getting out there, and you get meat and all that kind of stuff. Like to me, that's the way to start if you want to start jumping into it. Especially, it's I think late season doves. I think it might have just started. I can't remember exactly when it's starting. I should know that kind of stuff, but
you know what I didn't realize is how hard in Texas it is to find land to shoot on.
Yeah,
so like
it's way. We have. Like there's public land in different states, like out west, like they have a huge amount, but like, and you can look at it percentages, like some of them are as high as like 20 and the 30%. Like,
Pennsylvania has so much public land.
They have a ton of public land, but in Texas, it's literally, I think it's 2 or 3% of all land is public land. So it's really hard.
Because I went there to buy a rifle the other day to go shooting, and I was talking to the guy there. I was like, yeah, where do you recommend we go hunting around here? He's like, you got to know someone. And I was like, it blew my mind. I did not know it was like that down here.
Yeah, both of the spots I hunt right now are private land.
And then people that own that land make money.
They can make some money. I'm lucky because these are friends that just we're cool with it and everything. There's an agreement, there's a handshake. If they want meat, they're going to get it, obviously, if I get anything. But it's nice handshakes. But there is just the part that there are a lot of private landowners that want you to pay, and there's a lot of people that, like we just talked about before we turned the mic on, was like a lot of people do deer leases. Like they own the land, they have it for their own purposes, whatever. But one of the things they do to recoup the cash is that they run deer leases, and they let people come out for however many dollars for a weekend, or however many dollars per buck or per doe they take per animal. I mean, that's the way it is here. It's just kind of become its own industry, and it kind of sucks. Like I'm really jealous because you watch all these great YouTube videos and everything of people hunting out west, and they're walking across mountains and like millions of acres of public land, and then we're like, hey, can I hunt in your cornfield? Like it's really different down here, but whatever. It's its own challenge, man. I do have one public. I've been hunting public one place, but it's only small game. Like I only shoot dove, squirrel, and rabbit out there. That's it. And it's all shotgun, which is that's fine. It works for that and everything, but it's just like it's Lake Georgetown, just up the road here, probably about 25 minutes away. And it's great, but
that's like we're talking. If I could get land at some point in my life, like imagine like Saturday morning, waking up, hopping in a gator, driving back in the woods, like, and just you hunt on your own land. You shoot on your own land. Like, I think having your own property, to me, that's like a huge important part of my life. It's like
same. That's
where I want to get to some point, is have my own property where I can do my own stuff.
And that's really what it comes down to, is just have the room and just be able to do what you want to do. Like just be able to, like, your land is yours. Like I live in the suburbs right now, like, it's a great community, like it's awesome. But at the end of the day, like there are rules about what I can and can't do. Like, I can shoot my bow in my backyard or whatever, but I can't take it out to 60 yards. I can't take it out to 100 yards and test it out because I can't go out in the street and do that. Like,
can you make fires in your backyard?
Yeah, controlled ones in fire pits.
Yeah,
but I mean, again, that's the suburbs. It's the reason there's rules. It's not like I'm going to rebel against the system or anything like that. But it just becomes like just that. I want to have space to have the things I want, because this whole idea behind this podcast is all the random shit that I'm into, like all the stuff, all the things that I follow, all the tangents that I follow, and the stuff that I start buying gear for and get really into. And you need room for all that. And I want to have the room to do all that stuff for selfish reasons, but I also want it to be something that we have where I don't always have to go out to find things, because it's nice to have that stuff at home where my kids can see. Like a big thing for me philosophically is all the stuff that I get into and the process of learning something, being bad at it, getting obsessed, and getting better at it and finally maybe becoming good at it is something I want my kids to see. I want them to see that.
Oh, absolutely.
That was a big thing in Highland Games with me, is like I made my family a big part of that, and we always talked about it because my son's old enough to where he saw me he was at my very first Highland Games. And like to see me go from there to being okay at it and then to winning a championship at it, like him to see the progression of like, you didn't start doing that until like 6 years ago. I think that's really cool, and that's why I think the space is important, man. Like I know it's a big thought, but that's the idea of like I want to have all that stuff close to home, so we can all do that stuff together. Like that's the total goal for me.
I like that obsessive like personality because I'm the same exact way. Like when I find something and like I commit to things.
There is nothing else.
It was like when I started YouTube, I was like, all right, I'm gonna buy a good camera because then I'm forced to do it.
Right.
And that's like with CrossFit right now, like. I finally decided I'm going to transition to CrossFit. When I go into something, I go fully into it. Like, I get the new gear I need. I stick to the program. Like, my lifestyle has changed based off of that. Yep. And that's like when, like, filming everything, like, I'm starting from scratch. Like, it's very humbling, like, learning something new. You know what I mean? Like, when you go from, like, let's, like, bodybuilding, powerlifting, I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do the movements. And now I'm transitioning to something new. And, like, all the comments on YouTube, everyone's a critic. And, like,
oh, yeah.
This I'm like in my mind I'm just like just give me time, just wait.
Yep.
Wait till you see like everyone's got to start at some point,
right? And
like I'm sucking now, but when I like yesterday when I did my first muscle up or last week I did my first handstand push up, it's like hell yeah, like that, like it's a good feeling.
Yeah,
like, it's a feeling I haven't experienced in a long time where it's like there's something you can't do and then you accomplish it.
Dude, that's the feeling right there.
Like it's a hooked feeling.
Yeah, and that's really kind of that's the being achievement oriented that never goes away. Like, so you've built this company that's firing now. It's firing on all cylinders. It's doing well. You've got success that you couldn't have imagined. And that's something that you'll hear time and time and time again from people that talk about success, or they talk about hustle, or whatever you want to call it, #hustle.
Yeah.
Like you talk about that when you get the thing, the difference is like some people when they luck into things or they stumble across success, they'll sit and they'll enjoy and they'll put their head above water and enjoy the view or whatever. The people that really get successful in the long term, they just find the next thing. It's like you're chasing that feeling of 1, being bad at something again, 2, getting better at it, and 3, mastering it. That's addictive. That whole process is completely addictive. And I particularly love, and I figured this out why I always change. Just like you're changing a CrossFit right now. It's like I cherish that time that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I cherish it because that happens so only a certain amount of times in your life when you decide to tackle something. So like that, I'm doing Muay Thai right now. Like I'm kickboxing. I'm doing martial arts. Something I've always kind of dabbled in. I'm kind of been into whatever. I've trained with my family growing up, but I'd never really like signed on and said like, okay, I'm going to this school and I'm going to these classes every week and I'm doing this. And dude, it's so weird. I feel like when I'm trying to do things, I feel clumsy. I'm slow. I'll use the wrong hand or the wrong foot, and my wires are all crossed up. It feels like a computer that's wired wrong, and I love it. I love that feeling because it's like a new kind of confusion. You know, there's a new problem to solve. Like I don't get any joy out of continuing just to do the stuff I'm great at forever.
And that's why I had to change because I was not enjoying it. You know what I really realized this year too is. Like where a lot of my joy comes from, it's not, and I only like realized this past couple months with like success, it's not materialistic things. So like, say our business, like when we first did 7 figures, that was just another day. Like,
yeah,
when I can get like buy a new car, it means I get no joy, like literally zero. But when I can do like a muscle up, that like the endorphins of that are just like I can't even explain it.
Far and away better.
So it's like these little things like. Going and experiencing like I could spend $100 on a trip and see the craziest views, and that's like, or I could spend a couple $1,000s and go to LA and like, you know what I mean? It's like one provides so much value.
Yeah.
That like the monetary like part of it just can't even explain it. It's hard to explain. Like only this year have I realized that like money just doesn't make a person to a lot of people. It doesn't make you any happier.
Yeah.
But like when you can do these little things you accomplish and like in success. It's like that feels good. Yeah,
and money is freedom. This is these are no new concepts we're hitting here. I think but if you make enough money to have freedom, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's what you need. And like, I mean, look, man, there in the US, I think there's some, like, this was legitimately researched that like around $80,000 economically now is enough for you to feel like you're safe, you can take some vacations, you can do the things you want to do, and that's the level of happiness. Every dollar beyond that doesn't make you any happier. That just, so what do you do if you're making more than $80,000? Let's say if you're doing that, what do you do with all those extra dollars now that you're safe and you have time? What do you do? So that's where all this comes in. That's where the idea of chasing stuff comes from, and that's what I mean. That's why it seems ridiculous to spend money on things like guns, like or making, or creating a gun, building a gun up, modifying a gun from scratch or something like that, or like finding time to train yourself and doing a new thing. But that's really all you have at a certain point. Once you know you're safe, once you know you can afford healthcare and food, and you're in that situation, like either you just be happy with that and you hold on to it and chill out forever, or it's like, I'm going to just find a bunch of new stuff to get good at. And that's what that would answer the question is, why do you have a table full of guns now?
Yeah, I mean, there's like the list of things that I want to buy is it's never ending. But it's because they're things that I can use for like experiences, and
they're not just pretty things to put in your house.
Right. So like one of the new things I want to buy is Matt posted a picture of that pop-up tent on his truck.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Dude, I want one of those so bad.
He's got me on that now too.
I'm like, where can I take my truck? I can take it anywhere. I can go camping. I can sleep on top of my truck. Like the things I can do and experience with this are so that's like my next purchase.
Like a mobile adventure station.
It looks so cool.
Yeah,
it looks so much fun.
And for me as a hunter now, like that's a huge thing for me to be able to camp out somewhere and then get up in the morning and hunt and not have to have a cabin, not have to go to a public land place or like a park to camp. Like just be able to go camp somewhere. Like at this place I hunted last week. My buddy Luke, who I actually do another podcast with, he just slept in the back of his car. He just slept out there, and then he just woke up the next morning and went hunting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly awesome to me. So I'm gonna change gears though, and I'm gonna ask, because we're gonna get into like a philosophical question here.
Okay.
Why does shooting a gun and having a gun, why does that tickle such an important part, I guess, of who we are? Or maybe I don't want to say as men, because there's plenty of women that shoot. But what is it about it? Why is it so satisfying? What is it that's so satisfying about firing a weapon downrange or firing it in any kind of target? Why is that?
I think there's like two satisfying reasons. One is like you feel protected. You can protect not only yourself, the people around you.
Yeah. Like
on that hike this weekend in Big Bend, just carrying it with me and having it with me, you feel so much better having like that level of protection, whether it's against like a threat of another person, an animal, wherever you're at, you have some sort of level of protection, a barrier that you can use in your defense. So like that's what I think like the biggest like comfort comes from having, like I carry it in my truck all the time.
Yeah.
You never like, I don't think you should never like buy a weapon with the intent of I'm going to kill something.
Nope.
But it's like you buy a weapon with the intent of if I'm ever in a situation where I need it, I have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like we keep one here at the gym. Just because like there's sketchy people that come around, like people it'll be 11 p.m. we'll be here working and someone will come up pull in our parking lot. It's like, what are you doing here at 11 p.m.?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And we have a lot of inventory here.
Yep.
But just firing a pistol just like creates endorphins too. It's like working out. Those same endorphins pop off.
I agree.
It's like the smell, it's the feel, it's like the vibration.
Yeah.
And it's like if you do it with other people, it's like it's a community building event. I mean, it brings people together. Like me and the guys go shoot. We all have fun.
Yeah. And to me, I think my partial answer to that, I agree with both of those. I think I would add on that I think once you do it enough, you start to get into that skill building area too. You realize that there are people that are real good at this, and I'm not one of them yet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and you realize, you look at your groupings after you finish, and you see where there's room for improvement. So you start really drilling down a little bit. It's like, how do I shoot better? Like, are there things I can do gear wise, or the things I can do build wise to make it better? But what can I do with me physically? With the way that I shoot, the way I hold the weapon, the way I stand, the way I manage recoil, how I sight. Like, you can do all this stuff, and I think that's, for me, that's part of that's the trap too. That's the fun of it, and it's like it's just cool. I wish there's a better way to explain it, but knowing that I can work on a skill and get better at it, and it's that cool of a thing. Like, what an amazing invention these things are.
I hate being somewhere where I'm like the worst at something too.
Oh God.
So like you.
Okay. I'll let you finish, but go ahead. I'm of two minds about that.
If I go somewhere and I like, let me get golf for example.
Yeah.
If I suck at golf. Mm-hmm. If I go with a group of people that golf and they're good, I get super hard and frustrated myself. And I get pressure to like I need to perform. Like I hate being the worst person at something. Yeah. Or like a noob and not. It's like if I had the ability to know like everything about something and be good at, I would. There's so many things that I try to do. Like I just bought a harmonica because I wanted to be a harmonica player. Because like you get a little taste of something and you realize how good people are at it. It's like I want to do that.
I want to feel that. What they're feeling.
I want to be able to do that. I don't want to just listen to it on YouTube. I want to be able to play that. So like, there's a bunch of different things that like if I'm put in a situation and I realize I'm not good at it, I'm the worst. Typically, my next step is research and how do I get better at that.
Right, you're the guy to go home and start practicing immediately. Yeah. No, I get that, and I think I don't actually disagree. I just think like my feeling is I'm not so much this way anymore, but I don't like being bad at stuff, but I think that's morphed into as I've gotten older more of wanting to be at least kind of ready for every situation. At least, and if anything comes up, whether it's golf, whether it's shooting, whether it's training, anything like that, I want to at least have a baseline of knowledge to where I'm not going to feel like an idiot. Right. That's the goal, and they still happen. But that's the part that sucks. Like you're talking about, like when you find that new thing that you get into, and it's like, oh, I'm completely out of my element. That part kind of sucks a little bit. You know what's funny with that too is, and this might be one of the reasons I actually started getting into CrossFit, is because when Matt would come around, he would mention like, why are these people famous? They're not good at anything. Yes. Because he comes from like, you both come from a background where you're in competitive sports. You're around these people that are like elite athletes in the world. Yeah. And you have these people that are like making a shitload of money, super famous, and like, what are they good at? Yeah. So I got to the point where I was like, man, what am I good at? What am I good at? So I was like, I want to find something where I'm like, I want to be considered like elite at something. Yeah. So like, I think that's what part of my like transition to CrossFit because I was like, I have the military background, I have the endurance, I have some strength. Like, let's see if I can actually do this and like be good at something. Yeah. So I think it's like. Yeah, I 100% get that. Like I think I told you recently, like, in my 20s, I kind of went through like a little more bodybuilding, like lifting for appearance thing, which I don't begrudge anybody for because it's a good goal as any. But after a while, performance became a lot more enticing to me. The idea of how much go can I build? Mm-hmm. What can I do with the stuff that I'm building? And I think that's probably where you're ended up now too. Like, you've worked really hard to get the strength, to get the physique, to get the muscle mass you have, and but now it's more of a question of what can I do with this? Yeah, it's like I got all this stuff. What can I do with it now? I mean, again, to force the metaphor, it's like building the badass AR you're talking about, and like that's all cool if you just put it on your shelf and look at it, but you want to take it out and shoot it. You want to see what it can do. That's like with cars too. Like, I could spend like $200,000 in a car. It's gonna sit in my garage, and I'm barely like, or I could buy a truck that I'm like, I'm waiting for the day where I have an opportunity to take my truck somewhere, and it lasts an hour and it's done. Yeah. But I'd be like, I thoroughly enjoy that truck. Yes. I got the most out of that truck. That sucks that I lost that truck, but I used and abused that baby. Oh yeah, it had a good death. Yeah, was what I gave it. Yeah, I think that's where it is with like training now too. Is people are like, oh Nick, you're gonna lose your size, you're gonna lose your gains. I don't care, man. Who cares? I at this point I don't care. Like keep maintaining like this physique just to take pictures. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to like this weekend. I'm looking forward to. I'm doing a 12-mile, 90-pound ruck. I can't wait to just be sucking. Oh, dude, it's gonna be good. It's like testing your body. What can your body do? That's so much more enjoyable. Yeah, and that's really all there is to it. At the end of the day, like I know that's a big point to try to drive home, but like that's really all there is, man. Like we talked, and I've done my paces in CrossFit. I'm a level 1 coach and everything, and the biggest take home for me was that the fundamental things that they're teaching in CrossFit, and a lot of training to be honest, but in CrossFit, the fundamental movements, those things still apply when you're 80 and you're trying to get off the toilet, and or you're trying to like get up from falling down, or you're trying to get out of bed in the morning. Like the things that you need they don't really truly change over time. The things your body should be able to do, they just change in like what level of intensity you can do them in. Like you're always going to need to be able to pick things up off the ground. Like if it's pulling 700 on a barbell when you're young, that's one thing. That doesn't go away when you're 90. It just might be you have to pick up a book off the ground. And like so those things are always going to be there. So if you have that attitude of I'm always going to be testing to see what my body can do, you will take that decline that happens towards the end of life, and that decline will be slower because you've been testing it and building it constantly. So you'll have a better quality of life when you're 80, 90 years old. Like you won't be stuck, in a chair. You won't be stuck in bed. You'll be able to move. You'll do that stuff because the challenge doesn't change in type. It changes, what do they say in CrossFit? It doesn't vary in type. It just varies in intensity as you get older.
Interesting you bring that up because when we were hiking this past weekend, the average age of the person we saw hiking was probably like 70s.
Yeah.
Like these people were like, they were old, and they were booking up these hills.
Yeah.
These mountains. So they'd be doing like 10-mile hikes on the day. There's this woman, she was probably like 75, hikes up this mountain, puts on her bathing suit, gets in the hot springs with her husband. I was like, you guys are like, she was like, tell me how she ran 5 miles that morning. I was like,
savages, man.
That's how you stay that's how you stay fit. Like these people aren't out here like doing bicep curls and like bench pressing,
right?
But they're staying active, they're staying fit.
They're moving.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I realized last night is my body feels like it's actually starting to be able to move again.
Right. Yeah.
And it's such a good feeling.
Yeah, like you start to feel like you did when you were a kid. Like you start to feel like when you were playing sports when you were younger. Like you played ball when you were younger. Like you never thought about moving and getting in position then. You didn't. It wasn't a consideration like how mobile am I today? Because your body just had always worked as a single unit.
Yeah.
Once we start specializing in stuff, all of a sudden we come back. It's like, I can't get my shoulders back there.
No,
that's weird.
And now that I'm doing like that shoulder stretch you showed me.
Yeah,
that's been game changing.
Oh, it's getting in that position is all it is. You just can't do that without a band. Like you can't, like if you're not used to it, you can't get your arms back there without a band.
No, that's been mobilized my shoulders so much.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm really happy to hear that. All right, so the CrossFit thing reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there are videos of people that combine CrossFit with shooting, that they will like quite literally like hit WOD movements like kettlebell, sandbags, burpees, and runs, and then like kind of like you're talking about the stretch shooting basically, but they really combine, like they really like get specific and they'll like bring barbells out to the range and stuff like that. And to me that hits a little bit of the silliness vibe. When there's a certain point, like I get wanting to, like I think the stretch shooting thing you talked about is fantastic, but like do you really need to do like a full WOD with all the different movements to get there? And so that got me thinking about silliness and stuff. And
sounds like a great way to shoot your foot.
Yes, exactly. Like just let's have weapons on us while we do that. That seems smart. But you came from an environment in the Army where it's very, again, performance oriented. Like that's a great like connection there. Like this, the weapons are performance oriented. They're not to look cool. They're not to sound cool. They're not to impress anybody. Like they're made, they're designed, and they're handled, and like you said, inventoried painstakingly, and maintained to be for killing, to be for defense. That's what they're for. Like there's a function behind it. So you kind of came from that world. So what do you see in terms of people like in gun culture in general? What do you see that's just silliness? What kind of silliness is there out there that you look at as somebody that like came from that Army background? Like this is a machine, this is a tool for defense and possibly killing. What's silly?
I think there's, it's funny in the military, people they're like a different type of obsessive with weapons than like civilian sector. So like, some people in the military are very obsessive with weapons. Like they love old generation weapons, new generation weapons. Yeah. But I think a lot of them aren't gunheads. Like they don't like absolutely love all types of weapons. Yeah. I think there's more like connoisseurs in the civilian sector. Sure. But in like the military, you find like people that are very knowledgeable on the tactics, the operation, the performance measures of weapons, the maintenance. Like maintenance is huge. Yeah. But it becomes like, it doesn't become like an accessory to you. It becomes like it's always on you. Right. You know what I mean? Your weapon is like, it's always in your possession. It's your tool. Yeah, it's your tool. You never leave it. If you see a weapon by itself, like something just clicks in your head, like something's not right. That's not right. Yeah, that should not be on its own. That's interesting. Yeah, and like there were times, like in Ranger school or during training where like people lose their weapons because they're so tired and exhausted. And that was bad. Like that was
no higher crime.
That was bad news. Yeah. If a weapon goes missing in the military, everything locks down. And like, it's going to be a shitty day. So like the mentality with weapons, like in the military as opposed to the civilian sector, like I would never like, at first when I started leaving my weapons at the gym, it just felt wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, because like typically like they should be locked up, they should be secured. They're always in your possession. And when I started leaving like my rifle here, my pistol in my truck, it didn't feel right.
Right.
And so that was a weird like transition from controlling the weapon system. And also like ammo in the military is super controlled and accounted for.
Yeah.
Here I have like 150 rounds of 5.56 sitting next to my protein. You know what I mean? So it's the control, and it's understandable why in the military there's so much accountability and control. There has to be. Without, there'd be mass chaos and accidents. So there's a lot more responsibility, individual responsibility, I'd say, for a civilian that owns weapons, because you're accountable for that ammo, who touches it, who's in control of it, the weapon system. So it's two completely, like, the civilian owning weapon and the military owning weapons, they just are so different to me. Like, every part of it just so different.
Yeah. And I think that's probably what gives rise to some of the silliness, too, is that the same demands aren't put on civilians. Like, I guess the idea, if I'm reading you right, is like in the military, the idea is that this weapon is for a purpose and everything is tailored towards that purpose, that this being a tool for you to use for particular tactical purposes. Like, That's what it's for. That's not why I have guns. I have a shotgun because I hunt, and a hunting rifle is for a particular purpose. But I mean, this 9mm, that's just mine, and I don't have there's no express purpose for it. There's no duty that I have with that weapon. There's nothing that I have with that. It's like, in case something happens, like, here's what I have it for. And I think that probably makes civilians more apt to kind of silliness and imagination stuff. Like, you guys don't have to imagine in the Army really that much. It's very clearly explained to you what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, the weapon has a purpose and who it's going to be used on.
Yeah, I have to imagine situations where I use mine, and that probably opens the door to, like, wouldn't it be cool if I had a, I need, what I need? I need a laser sight on there. Yes, you do. We had PEC 15s, which they have lasers. Oh, they do?
So it's either a red dot where you can actually see the laser, or you can see it through your night vision.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So we use those as spot targets a lot. So, like, team leader would come up and use his laser and say, all right, here's your targets over here.
Right.
Or identify, like, left and right limits. But it's also different, like, with accountability with, like, so say, like, if I put my weapon in this office and I lock it and I leave the gym, it's secured. In the military, if you put a weapon in a room, lock that door, lock the building, that weapon's still not secured. It has to be in the arms room. So, like, say, like, this room we're in doing this podcast right now, if this was a room in a military building, I can't just lock this door and leave for the day. There have to be people in this room all night watching the weapons, unless it's in the actual arms room.
Huh.
So when we were leaving Korea, we had a huge Connex, like a 20-foot container that had all the weapons for the battalion in, and that got locked up. But just because it was locked up, we still had people watch it, sitting on it for 24 hours a day until it got picked up and sent back to Fort Hood.
Wow.
So just like the accountability and the management of weapon systems in the military is crazy. Everything has a serial number in the military. Like, that's like, if you do your sense of items check for the month and you get to the point where, like, all right, I didn't check off the serial number, we need to find this in 5 minutes or it's gonna be a really bad day. And there's times where it's like everything stops, everyone in your battalion is looking for the serial numbered item, or no one's going home. Like, there's been units that are locked down for weeks at a time. They don't go home for a week because they can't find this piece of inventory.
Right. And it may not even be a weapon. It might just be a piece of inventory.
It could be a radio. It could be, like,
wow,
a pair of night vision goggles, like anything.
Huh.
So it's like,
so when you coming from that world, and this, I don't get a chance to have these kind of conversations often, is like, does looking at how little of that there is in civilian ownership, does that scare you?
No, because I think when it comes down to civilian, like, there's a greater responsibility on that individual to take care of their stuff. So like their ammo, their weapons, that's down on the individual. So no, it doesn't scare me at all. Like I have no problem with anyone owning weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, because everyone has that right. And it's like if you want to shoot a weapon on a range or whatever in your land, go ahead. Like that's the power you have.
Yeah.
So it doesn't scare me that like the accountability isn't as much. In the military, I think it'd be easier to manage.
Yeah. In
the civilian sector, that's just something you can't manage. I mean, it's like even if the government put like you need to have this weapon locked up in this kind of safe,
how do you
can't manage
how do
that.
you oversee that?
No, it's like okay, we'll take it out with a grain of salt.
Sure. So
I think it's such a huge population that isn't on the same, like there's just no way to manage that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's 1,000 people and there's only 2 people managing it, it's too many.
Yep.
Like, so balloon that up to 350 million.
Yeah, so you can make rules and regulations that you hope people follow. People are going to break those rules and regulations.
Absolutely.
It's the same in civilian, it's the same in the military. People are going to break those regulations. Things go missing, things happen.
But in the military, you have a control system that's not like a civilian government. Like you have...
there's some strict... I mean, you have like operating procedures, but that takes up most of your time.
Yeah.
Like that's what takes up your time in the military is these operating procedures that you have to do for control conditions and checks to make sure things are running smoothly and effectively. Yeah.
So you talked about you're going to get your CHL, your concealed handgun license.
Yep.
I have mine. I did a 2-day course for it. I really, really liked it. I know a lot of people that are experienced with weapons, just they find it boring and it's like a box they have to check. I thought it was really interesting. Now, I'm also somebody that enjoyed having to take hunter education because I actually read everything. Like it's, I think that's really, really good. And there's a part of me that after doing that and like dealing with the current conversation about guns that almost makes me wish, like, man, I wish everybody that was going to buy a weapon had to get, like, they had to at least sit through something. Like driver's ed or something like that. No, it's different. I actually had this conversation with Spencer the other day. Like, you're talking about a right versus a privilege, though. Like, that's different. The Second Amendment affords us the right to bear and keep those arms. So that's an interesting case. But, man, that, like you talked about, the accountability and the awareness of first, as a civilian, the awareness of what the laws are, how to secure a weapon, like what the four most important rules of a weapon, how it basically functions instead of it just goes bang, bang. I feel like that'd be great if everybody could get that somehow. Like, what do you? I'll throw it to you. What do you think about that? Like, what would you think about the idea that if you have to buy a gun in a legit way, that you have to be educated somehow?
Great.
You have to get an education.
A lot of people that think they're educated on weapons, aren't educated on weapons.
You're right.
I think everyone they go and buy it and they think they should have a carry license.
Right.
They don't know. Like, even a lot of people leaving the military. I'd say 80%. I'm going to even say 80% of the people that leave the military after their service contract don't know shit about weapons.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because, like...
They just did what was asked of them.
Because a lot, unless the infantry we probably use the weapons the most. We go to the range the most. All of our training and tactics are with weapons. But, not all people in the military are infantry. There's people that are cooks and logistics and supply, commo, stuff like that, where your main job isn't to carry a weapon.
Sure.
Your main job may be, doing stuff with radios or fueling vehicles, all important jobs in the military. You need all those jobs, but it's just, your first job is to be a soldier, yes, but you might not be an expert on that weapon system. Yeah. So a lot of people, sometimes people leave in the military, like, I'm an expert on this M9 and M4. They might have honestly only shot that M9 or M4, like, less than 10 times.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you don't go to the range all the time. Yeah. Especially depending on what you're doing. And when you go to the range, it isn't just like you have so many people going. It's just going through the motions most of the time. You're not getting one-on-one training all the time. That's why, like, if you go to a specialized unit, if you go special ops or ranger regiment, or even some of the more elite, like, light infantry units, that's where you're getting your training. You're getting some good training there. Yeah. But, like, it depends on what your job is, what unit you're in, what your job specific tasks are. So, like, I think everyone thinks that, like, someone might say they're in the military, and someone that doesn't know anything about the military is like, oh, that guy's a badass. That guy can shoot any weapon system. In reality, he might not have ever, like, it might have been a year or two since he's touched a weapon.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think, like, I think everyone should go through some sort of training to at least a baseline knowledge of how a weapon performs, how to use it, your checks, ammo, stuff like that, for protecting yourself and the people around you.
Yeah, for sure. And like I'm all for, the hero with a gun mentality, because I think it's great. I think it's a good deterrent, but I'd like to know that the hero with a gun can hit what he's shooting at generally.
Yeah.
Or I'd like to know that, he understands how his weapon works, that he's not going to, like pull it out of a holster, safety off, round chambered, and he doesn't know where the fucking first shot goes. Like, it's just little stuff like that. I want people to have that respect. I mean, it's probably a pipe dream. I totally understand that. Like, I totally get it. And it is like a wish kind of thing. We wish that people would have the same kind of, I guess, thirst for education and knowledge on this potentially deadly thing that you and I have. I'd like that, but most people just don't.
That's here's a story that kind of like describes it. So I was in college and I was at this frat party, and this one frat guy, he was in the National Guard, he was in the Army.
Yeah.
So he gets really drunk, and there's a party down in the basement, and I was there, goes upstairs, grabs his AR, and starts shooting it in the basement at this target with like hundreds of people down there. And it's just like, where should you have your weapon, and how do you not know how to use it properly? Even like, just because that's no excuse. Like, it's a bad situation. So it's like,
how about don't touch a gun when you're drunk first? I'll just start with that.
It's like, I will always remember that night, because I was like, that was before I was active duty. I was like, this guy's in the Army. Like, how does he not know better? And it's just like, that's a situation that could have been shitty.
Ugly fat. I feel bad for the ears of the people in there. God.
I remember the first time I took my AR out, I went to this range. It was years ago. And I get in this little, it was outdoor range, but it had a box.
Yeah.
Had no ear pro. I fired the first round, and I'm just like looking like, holy shit.
I'm never going to hear again.
That's like some of we would do like, we would clear villages sometimes, like for training.
Yeah.
So it'd be these mock villages and rooms. So you'd have to put the 240 somewhere. So we put the 240 where it had the best observation, avenues of approach, fields of fire.
Yeah.
And sometimes it had to be like a room. And you'd be like, man, I do not want to be in this room when this thing starts rocking. Because it'd be facing out the window. And as soon as it start rocking, you're just, everything, like, you lose all orientation of everything.
And I've only been in the, like, I think I've been in the vicinity of a 240. But not anywhere like, I'm not standing next to anything. Like, it's like it's not just the hearing, it's just it's like percussive. It's like,
it vibrates your head.
Yeah. Like, I've never been near a 50 cal when it should, but I hear that's the same. Like, it's like, that's just like a full body experience.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you sit like, the way you sit on that one is your feet go like under the gun, and it has like butterfly trigger.
Yeah.
And you're holding like this, and as like your whole, like, it's a whole body like synchronization with a weapon.
Jesus.
But that's the stuff that stuff's fun to shoot.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's the stuff that I want to shoot again. And that's what I've been searching. I've been like, where can I shoot a 240? Where can I shoot like a 50 cal? And you see these guys, like these big YouTubers and stuff that have these big weapon systems. That shit is fun to shoot.
Yeah, it is. You gotta hook up with those guys.
Yeah.
Or you can just re-enlist.
Yeah, I could. I'm waiting on my moment.
Oh, there you go.
World War III. Sign me up, boss.
It's coming. It'll probably start on YouTube, so you'll be right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It'll probably start on Twitter, I guess. Is probably what's going to happen now. So make sure you open your Twitter account. You'll get drafted right away. All right, man. Well, hey, I've taken a lot of your time, but I really, really appreciate it. This was an awesome conversation.
Yeah, it was good.
As predicted, it went off guns for a little while, but that's good, man. That's how these things are supposed to go. But I'm actually looking forward to begging you for a chance to shoot this one at some point.
Absolutely. That's a new optic I just put on.
Yeah, it's sweet, man. It feels nice. You got any plans to go shoot anytime soon?
This weekend.
Nice.
Best of the West.
Where? Oh, that's right. I haven't been out there yet.
I haven't been there yet, but I heard I heard you like walk up. This old guy's just like, yeah, go shoot back there. Like,
Nice.
no, like people like watching over you and stuff.
I Google searched and saw that, and I asked some people about it, and they said that it's pretty legit. It's fun. Like,
I haven't been yet, but I want to go.
Yeah, no, we should do that, man. We should try to find a way to make that happen. Well, again, tell the people where they can find you, Nick, if they don't know already.
Yeah, so my website is www.bearperformancenutrition.com. It's BARE, and on Instagram I'm Nick Bear Fitness, and in YouTube you search Nick Bear. My name will pop up somewhere.
It'll be in there.
Probably some military videos or some food challenge videos popping up.
Nice. Full day of eating.
Oh my God, have I done enough of those yet?
Well, at least we know what you eat now.
Here's some more egg whites and oatmeal.
Really fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Although I did steal your overnight oatmeal recipe out of one.
Isn't that good?
It was fucking delicious.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It was really good. I also use when I do it normally. I use the VPN cinnamon roll protein in. Oh, dude, that is like there was like a month or two where I ate nothing else in the morning.
I ate that for 9 months straight in Korea every morning. Every morning.
That's just bare bones living right there, man. That's all you need.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, man. Well, again, thanks again. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I wanna hide, so give me your love to me. And beat me till I bleed. I can't
The Do Whatever podcast is brought to you by Throw Bros. Throw Bros is the only online store for throwing athletes. So there's a lot of stuff on there for Highland Games athletes right now. This is the off season. So people are gearing up, people are getting ready, people are working on the particulars of their throwing, how they're going to compete, putting their calendar together, where they're going to compete. So this is the time to gear up. So go to throwbros.com. You can get tape, tacky, chalk, hammer blades, all the stuff you need to get ready for a season. There's also a new section where there are ebooks and resources, and that is ever growing. There's going to be new stuff all the time teaching you how to throw, how to train for throwing, how to train for the Highland Games. It's a weird thing. It's not a common sport. So there's not a lot of resources out there. So Throw Bros is trying to put them all in the same place. If you use the code DOWHATEVER on there, you're going to get a discount on your entire order. We're also brought to you by we. It's just me. There's no we here. I guess me and the dog that sleeps in the room sometimes. He can be sponsored too. But sponsored by HVIII Brand Goods. HVIII Brand Goods is an apparel company. It's built for people that like adventure and that want to see new styles, new designs come out regularly, and they want to be wearing stuff that puts across a personal philosophy that they're not afraid to use a little negative energy to create some positive energy, and that's what it's all about. So go to thehate.com. That's HVIII.com. Same code. Use Do Whatever there. You're going to get a discount on the whole thing. Do it. Thanks again, everybody listening. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. You can find this on iTunes. You can find it on Google Play. Going to be moving to Stitcher Smart Radio after some requests here. We're going to be moving the Do Whatever podcast to that platform. I'm also putting these up on my YouTube channel. If you search for Mike Beach, you'll find me there. If you want to find me on Instagram, find me Beach with 9 E's, no A. Just Beach like the tree, Beach with 9 E's. Find me there. Hey, leave a comment, direct message me. Let me know what you think about these episodes. Talk to me about what's your pursuit, what's your passion, what's the thing you're into at the moment, what's your rabbit hole, as we always say. So talk to me about that. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me who I should talk to next. I'm always up for going on a little adventure trip or bringing somebody to me and talking to them, picking their brains, seeing what they're obsessed about. Thanks again, everybody. Talk to you next time.